President Biden is crystal clear in his letter. Serbia has to recognize the Republic of Kosovo now. America is the key to recognition of Kosovo and the guarantee of peace in the Balkans. It was a very good decision of Prime Minister Albin Kurti to make a major American tour now. I recommend applying to NATO immediately upon his return to Pristina. It is better not to wait for goodwill from Belgrade. There will be not any goodwill without Kosovo applying to NATO. That's absolutely the way to do it. Now, after the application to the Council of Europe, it is very urgent that the Kosovo government applies to the EU and NATO now, ahead of the major world summits of EU, NATO and G7 on the 23rd to 30th of June. In that week, all major decisions will be taken for the rest of the US and the EU governing mandates until 2024. So don't miss this opportunity. Nice letters are nice, real applications matter most. Once the letters are out for the NATO membership and EU candidate status, we will see who is a real friend of the Republic of Kosovo and of peace in the Balkans, or who is a fair weather friend from a distance and who in reality does not really care for Kosovo. There can be no compromise on sovereignty. You are either sovereign or not. And it's not a compromise for Serbia to recognize Kosovo, as this is an irreversible fact since the 17th February 2008. There can be no compromise for Kosovo on sovereignty, as Kosovo is an internationally recognized republic. So the word compromise is a mistake and should not be used. What is required is a future of Serbia and Kosovo and Bosnia in NATO and EU, and with the euro as currency, as supranational in a supranational unification system as the EU is, and being member in the same defense alliance and using the same currency. That will overcome borders, that will overcome the past divisions, and the whole Balkans will be united with the EU and NATO. As with France and Germany, eternal enemies for a millennium or more, now united in NATO, EU and the euro, this must be the same for Serbia and Kosovo. It's the only way for lasting peace in the Balkans and Europe. Serbia will only recognize Kosovo once all other Balkan states are in NATO and have the euro as currency and are heading towards EU membership, or then they have the feeling that they will be excluded. And only in the case of danger of full isolation alone in the Balkans, outside NATO, EU and Euro, then Serbia will recognize Kosovo. That is why the EU and US strategy to appease and appeal to Serbia is wrong. Serbia must be isolated, the EU candidate negotiations must be suspended, as Serbia is not showing any goodwill on Kosovo and Ukraine. Only once the danger of isolation is clearly visible, Serbia will turn to the West and recognize Kosovo and join the sanctions against Russia. This is very important, so please I call for the suspension of the EU candidate status and for the isolation of Serbia, and for Kosovo to apply to EU and NATO now in the coming weeks, ahead of the summit, in order to be, there is the possibility to take decisions on the NATO and EU future of Kosovo at the end of June. Thanks a lot.